Hi, welcome to another video. Today we once again gonna look at the best decks for Ladder. But there's like Barbarian a little bit slower. We're still not a little bit sure, but I think we have some obvious things that are gonna be here to stay. So let's look at it. First deck first, and I'm not happy that I have to tell you. I hate this deck so much personally. But the best decks by mile, like by in mile, this is the best deck that is currently in the meta is JXY. Like this deck got buffed with the Jax change because of course Jax is living different way now that you need to attack with 16 plus power. No, so like your blocks doesn't count. And that's something that this deck loves, especially because of Vi. Vi so often just insta level Jax on turn 5, and it's so powerful. It's the classic Jax timer that I think you know from the last season, from the last Eternal season, and like even from the past. It went a little bit more burn. We can see it with Tipper Misty Shot, Tipper get excited, Tipper blowback, and that's like the giving you the way how to win the game if you don't draw the most important card in your deck, and that's Timelines. Because Timelines with things like Castaway and like over with every Viper Master, even like Fire It, Hookmaster, Blacksmith, Castaway, Shepherd, Combat Cook is giving you just premium minutes for premium mana, and they are just too powerful. Timelines are just too good, and as I was scared of, I think this deck is undisputably the best deck in the game currently. So it's also best deck for climbing. It has some consistency issues, especially when you get timelines. But as said, it's kind of acting as a burn deck if you don't get it. And especially things like Vi, especially with Scout Weapon is pushing so much damage thanks to her level 2. So that's something you have to be definitely counting with and, utilizing with. As well, like, Vi, it's not only like Scout Weapon, it's also like Overwhelm Weapon, right? So yeah, this deck is just amazing. It's gonna win you a lot of games. I hate this deck so much, but you're gonna perform well if you're gonna play it. I'm gonna do a little bit something special, and that's that I have like two Invoke decks currently in thing. I think both of them are pretty good, and I'm not really sure what's the best one. One is more low curve, and one is a little bit like more greedy. And we can see that it's a Zoe Samira and it's Zoe Diana. Something that, you might be asking, where's Aphelios? Aphelios, since Cosmic Call release, is just too expensive. You want to use the Cosmic Call for 8 mana, and you want that so much. And because Aphelios is giving you weapons and kind of force you to spend so much mana on him, then you're not having the mana for Cosmic Call. So Aphelios tends to be just too slow for the meta that is currently in, as well just for the game plan that currently the Invoke decks want to go. Cosmic Call is usually just used for 8 mana, so that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, let's hop into Zoe Summer. This is the more lower of the curve. Something that it's interesting, you don't play Mountain Scar in this version because you playing 11 Noxus cards. You're playing things like Center and Flock, that's so powerful in this meta. And it's a powerful combo that we know. These cards are just good. And as you can see, your tactics is usually going like a little bit more wider, emptying your hand, and then in the late game go Cosmic Call, hopefully hitting Living Legends, and Living Legends for 5 mana are so broken. And it's just gonna win you so many games. And thanks to the how many small invokes you're gonna play before that, you're gonna, achieve big Celestial units very easily in like turn 8, turn 9. So that's something that you plan to go for. Amazing addition is Sparkologist, one of the amazing buffs that we got last patch, because it's so good with both Zoe and Summer, of course, giving the +1/+1 and spell shield. Don't forget that you the Behold Celestial. When I first played this deck, I was like, why didn't anything happen? But yeah, you need to build Celestial, so that's something that you need to be, planning your gameplay with. But it's very easily with, especially with the started peak that also got the buff from 2 mana to 1 mana. And honestly, this card is pretty good. I'm gonna be honest with you, this card is pretty good, and I like it so much. But yeah, this is lower to the curve, and let's look at the Diana Zoe. That's a little bit, more greedier. Second deck, as I said, is Zoe Diana. It's a little bit more greedier, but because you're only splashing 2 atrocities as your Wincon on your big Celestial in the late game, you are able to play Scar, and Scar since buff is just broken god. I'm gonna be honest with you, this card just doesn't make sense, especially if you hit Allegiance. This card is just taking over, and it's so powerful. With so many small invokes that you have, with the Cosmic Call as a late game, once again, like this card is so good. And I'm so happy what Rare did with Invoke, because I think it's finally accomplishing the dream. And Cosmic Call was exactly the card that we needed. Cosmic Call, especially in this deck, you sometimes tend to go like for double Cosmic Call for 8 mana. Because, then, as said, like 5 mana Living Legends are good. But have you played 3 mana Living Legends? Man, they're even better. But this deck is so fun. It's, as said, a little bit more greedier. You go a little bit more late game. And you have, the tools to start the game with like things Sunburst, things like Youngling are amazing installing game. Things like Targon and Tailstones. Targon and Tailstones since buffs are the best Telsoons in the game. It's nothing close. And you more often flip Zoe in this deck because like, you know, you have so much value, you have so many cards, and yeah, it's so fun, it's so good. And definitely, if you haven't yet, but I would assume that you did, definitely try this deck. So you know, let's look at the last deck. Last deck, and it's Samira Akshan, a deck that I enjoy so much playing with because it's so fun. But not only fun, but I feel it's so good since the new tools in you know, Avenging Vasta, as well Akshan getting back his landmark to 8. This deck, if you haven't seen it yet, is about both of your champions in Akshan and Samira, bit combining with a lot of powerful spells, things like Shape Zone, of course, with Akshan, Absolver, and you know, things like Grappling Hook, and of course, things like a Glaive, as well, because you're playing only 4 Noxus Splash, you're able to play Golden Ambassador. And yeah, I said you need both of your champions, but when you're able to put them both on the board, equip at least one of them or even both of them with Glaive, and then you just go crazy. They are so well working together, especially Samira filler is up advancing Akshan landmark if you target Samira. So that's something that you need to keep in mind when you're using Samira. And yeah, this deck is amazing. I made deck guide on it like 3 months ago, so you can check that out. And yeah, deck is not easy to play, but if you master it, if you learn it, if you know, learn the sequencing and stuff, you're gonna get so much better at it. And the deck just gonna revert you. So something that I definitely do recommend you, and you know, especially because it's so fun and as well competitive, then I just see it as a win-win. Yeah, that's been decks for this week. Honestly, the format feels so powerful. I think we have so many good decks. So I was kind of sad that I had to miss, you know, things like Akshan Lease, and I think that deck is having a lot of potential. When we go, you know, some like burn decks are also good. So that, you know, especially early season tends to be very good. More Aphelios deck, even though, you know, I said maybe invokes, I think even decent with Aphelios. Like I said, I don't think that he's necessary in the deck, but he's still good, you know, the decks with him. Things like, you know, set to handle. We have such a powerful format, you know, even I didn't mention like, you know, PNZ Targon, that's also very powerful decks, like, you know, Aphelios Victor. That we saw in the past. Like the format just feels so powerful, and we have so many good decks. So I definitely missed a lot of them. The Cobra combo, also that's something that definitely to mention. I think I don't know how well it is doing, but it was synced so good, right? You can see it. Like it has 65%, of course, small sample size, but there's so many decks to cook with, and you know the meta is not still like sure we still like cooking with. Every day I see new and new decks pop up, so that's something that is so exciting. But yeah, I said like if you're watching this a little bit later, maybe these decks are not good anymore. You know, check maybe newer day in my date. But you know, I'm gonna try to maybe update you a little bit. You can also hop into my Twitch, of course, because I'm talking about it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have an amazing day and have so much fun in this meta because I think the meta so far feels amazing. So see you in the next video. Okay, bye.